Hi, I'm Ilka, and this presentation is about why the National Transportation Safety Board should lower the legal blood alcohol concentration (BAC) while driving from 0.08 to 0.04% in order to reduce the number of alcohol-related automobile injuries. Picture this: a head-on collision with two demolished vehicles, a bottle of vodka rolling out of the car onto the ground. Such tragic events happen much too often in our country. How do we reduce the occurrence of these events? The main issue is centered on the following. On an annual basis in the United States, approximately 10,000 people are killed, and another 350,000 are injured from alcohol related car crashes. As members of the National Transportation Safety Board, we have to determine the most appropriate policy change to minimize injury resulting from drinking and driving. In terms of what is at stake, by implementing a stricter policy, it could potentially save the lives of many drivers who would encounter a drunk driver on the road. A new policy could improve driver and passenger safety, reduce traffic congestion resulting from alcohol related crashes, and reduce costs relating to medical bills, towing, and services employed in the aftermath of a crash. In order to reduce injury from drinking and driving, we propose reducing the legal BAC driving limit from 0.08 to 0.04%. Some individuals would argue that reducing the BAC would be ineffective because at a certain point, drunk drivers ignore the legal limit. They would argue that the most problematic drunk drivers have BAC levels exceeding 0.08%, and reducing the limit to 0.04% would not alter their decision logic of how much to drink and whether to drive. One counterargument is that sobriety checkpoints are a more effective strategy in battling drunk drivers because their presence instills fear in drivers of being checked and possibly arrested if found to be intoxicated. Another counterargument is that implementing the use of breathalyzer ignition interlocks in cars would be the best method of reducing drunk driving, because it is the only strategy that employs a physical piece of technology that prevents drunk drivers from operating their vehicle under the influence. Furthermore, 35 to 40% of all fatally injured drinking drivers are estimated to have had at least one prior DWI offense. If breathalyzer ignition interlocks are installed in cars, it would prevent many repeat offenders from operating their vehicles under the influence. This would drastically reduce the number of fatal car crashes involving drunk drivers. With the statistics from NTSB, it is clear how alcohol affects drivers' decisions and reactions while on the road. This risk of fatal accidents with drunk drivers changes with drivers' gender, weight, and age, but general rule is the higher the BAC, the higher the risk. We believe that lowering the BAC driving limit to 0.04% is the best policy because of the following reasons. If sobriety checkpoints are put into place, then a driver can easily avoid the checkpoint if they have prior knowledge of the checkpoint's location. A simple detour in their route can avoid these preventive measures put in place and still risk the lives of innocent drivers. Ignition interlocks are also not the ideal option because they restrict the freedom of individuals who do not drive under the influence. Such an extensive measure is too much and punishes innocent law-abiding citizens for the inappropriate actions of a select few. And both options mentioned previously are costly and require high investment by local police, manufacturers, and drivers. Lowering the BAC driving limit to 0.04% is the best compromise among all three options. It provides people with the option to have a drink or two and be able to drive home at a BAC level with an associated risk that is 10 times lower than the previous limit. Our proposal is not the strictest option and does not completely eradicate the problem of drunk driving, but it mitigates the risk while still providing citizens with the freedom that they enjoy.